Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to the pod, baby. Um, it's a new episode. 50. It's 50 now, guys. Just two more episodes and it's a year. But I mean, 50 is a big milestone by itself. You know, just the number. You know, like, people like the 10s. Well, guess what? People really like the 50s. 50, 100, 150, 200. I can go on and on, baby. Imagine if we got to 500. People would lose their minds. Anyways, welcome back to the pod. So this past weekend, I went to a hockey game. If you follow me on Twitter, you already know. I was live tweeting the entire time. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, be sure to do that because I got some pretty fire tweets over there. Not to pat myself on the back or anything. But yeah, definitely follow me on Twitter at RealJLions. But yeah, I was live tweeting. Actually, I went to see two hockey games. There was two. I went up to South Bend to visit my sister because she goes to Notre Dame, the little smart ass. But just kidding. But yeah, I went up to Notre Dame to visit my sister and see a hockey game because I've never seen a hockey game before. My parents went up to see a hockey game to visit my sister like a couple years ago or something like that. Because my sister's a part of the hockey band, because apparently they have bands for hockey now. I honestly I thought bands was only like a football thing, but no, we got them at hockey, and apparently they have them at basketball too. Don't ask me, I don't understand it, but I mean it was cool hearing the band, obviously, but it's just like, when you think of hockey, you don't think, oh shit, the marching band, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, so yeah, I went up there and it was fucking cold, dude. Like it was insanely cold. And I know like it's February, it's still kind of winter, but like I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to be 12 degrees outside, okay? Yeah, you probably weren't expecting me to say that either. You're probably like, "Oh, cold? He's from Florida. He's probably talking about like 40." No, dude, it was 12. Okay, it was 12 most of the days, okay? The highest I saw the temperature go up to was like 19. But yeah, it was cold. There was a shit ton of snow on the ground. I mean, crazy ton. Like I swear it was. I mean, maybe people up north are like, yeah, this is no big deal. But being from Florida, we don't get any snow. Any amount of snow is crazy to me. But I swear it had to be like 6 to 8 inches of snow. I mean, it was insane. And like, I mean, the highways were paved. But like there was some roads like in the like city streets. That's why I fucking hate city streets. The city streets, like most of them, like just like weren't even plowed. There was just like a ton of snow on the ground. They didn't put any salt down. It wasn't plowed or anything. So like we're just like driving and like the cars sliding all over the place, And I'm like, can we get some guys over here? Just real quick. But the craziest thing about driving on the roads though is that like. I'm from Florida, so I don't really know all the laws up in like northern states, but I saw people driving on the road, like their cars, and they just had like a ton of snow on like the roof of their cars, because like I'm telling you, it was snowed like 6 to 8 inches on the ground. And so any car that was parked outside, which is probably most cars, had 6 to 8 inches on the roof of their cars. And a lot of people just like didn't brush that off. And like I said, I'm from Florida, so I don't know all the northern laws, but I kind of thought brushing the snow off your car was like a law in northern states. In states where it snows, I should say. Like, is that not a law? Because, I mean, I've heard so many stories of like people driving down the road, and then, the snow gets loose and it all flies off the roof of the car and it slams into the car behind them. And like, you're probably thinking, oh, snow, no big deal. But like, dude, a lot of times, like snow, at least the further down you go, like if you have like 6 inches of snow, like the bottom 3 or 2 inches or something like that is like ice, And so like ice is flying off the roof of your car at high speeds into the car behind you. Like literally when we were up there, I was in the hotel room and watching TV, flipping through the channels, and this I happened to cross the news, and they're talking about this story about this woman in Massachusetts who was driving down the road behind a semi, and the semi truck had a shit ton of snow on top of the truck, and it all blew off into her car, shattered her windshield, like filled her car up with snow, and luckily she was okay. But like, I'm like, is that not a law to brush that off? I understand maybe semis is a little harder to get to the top, but there's like cars like sedans driving down the road with like a shit ton of snow on the roof, and I'm like, dude, like 99% of people are able to reach that, especially with a brush. Like brushes are long, so that gives you like an extra extension to your hand. Like you're not even brushing with your hand, you're brushing with a brush. And like even our rental car came with a brush in the car. It's like they know you got to brush the snow off your car. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how is this not a thing that you guys just do automatically? Driving down the road with fucking 6 inches of snow on your roof. There's some people were like, even their back window was covered in snow. The hood of their car is covered in snow. Most of their windows are covered in snow. Like the only thing not covered in snow is like their windshield and their driver's side window. And I'm like, how do you even drive? You can't look out the back window. It's covered in snow. You can't look to your, passenger side window because the window's covered in snow. It's like, how do you even drive? I mean, there was like this one car where that was like in front of us at this red light. Like I said, all the windows covered in snow, right? And we ended up going around this person because like they were like skidding all over the place because there's a shit ton of snow on the ground too because no plows, no salt. I don't know what they're doing, falling down on the job, but but we pull up alongside them like as we're passing them. Look in, person's like on their phone, just like texting away. I'm like, okay, so your car's sliding, most of your windows are covered in snow, and you're texting and driving. I do not want to be around you at all. Talk about a car wreck waiting to happen, dude. But yeah, anyways, so like we fly in, and like I said, like it was cold, and I walk outside, and I got a mask on, because I mean, but I'm like, okay, at least my face will stay warm in the cold, because my face is covered. I walk outside immediately, my entire body freezing cold. And I'm like, holy shit. And there's like ton of like vapor coming out of my mouth, because I'm breathing. Just like spewing out of my mask. And I'm like, this is way too fucking cold. Like it was crazy. Like I just wanted to run back inside, And then we're pulling up to the rental car, and I went with my father to visit my sister, and we come up to like the rental car, and it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, pick your car, And so like we're walking to the car, and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna get in the car, just get warm. And my father's like, right, what car should we take? Should we take that one? Which one speaks to you? Huh? Which one do you like? And I'm like, dude, I'm just cold. I just want to get in the car. I just want to get warm. Just get in the car, turn on the seat heater, turn on the heat, get warm, dude. So finally, we picked a car, and of course, the car didn't have any seat warmers because guess what? The car was from Florida. It had Florida plates on it. And like, we didn't even realize, because Florida plates are only in the back. Okay. So and the car was backed in, so we couldn't see the back of the car. And plus, like, who really gives a shit where the car's from? If you really think about it, like, I don't look at the license plate and go, okay, that's a New York car, I want that one, But like, of course, we pick a Florida one, and of course, a Florida one wouldn't have seat warmers because, like, I mean, most Florida cars don't have seat warmers because it's warm anyways, but some do, and I do like to have them. So, car manufacturers, if you're listening, I don't give a shit. Just put seat warmers in every car, okay? Don't make that like an option that you can have or not have, okay? Every car default needs to have seat warmers, okay? Because guess what? The human body's got to be warm, dude. What are you doing? Making us be cold. Anyways, so yeah, we got in the car and it took a while. We had to warm up the car, had to warm us up, because like we're freezing cold. And I mean, to be fair, I was only wearing like a minimal winter outfit because, like, I was from Florida. And when we left, it wasn't cold at all. Like it had to have been like 75 or something when we were in Florida. And so, like, I didn't want to wear anything that was too warm. I didn't want to pull up to the airport in Florida with like snow boots, jeans, and a snow coat because everyone would be like, "What the fuck are you wearing? It's 75 degrees outside, dude." So, like, I just pulled up in just like, track pants and a sweatshirt, But anyways, I don't know. Like, usually, like, I can make it from the airport to the rental car, no problem. Because, like, I've gone up north before in the winter. Okay, I lived up north for 2 years. Okay, I mean, there'd be times where it'd be like 40 or 30 degrees outside, and I'd be able to walk outside in shorts and a sweatshirt, and I wouldn't be that cold, Because people think I'm crazy when I say this, but like, dude, sometimes like winter feels colder in Florida, and I'm talking equivalent temperature, okay? Like 40 degrees up north is not the same as 40 degrees in Florida, okay? Because up north, it's like a dry cold. So like I said, I'd be able to walk outside in shorts and a sweatshirt. Some people would be walking outside in shorts and a tank top and like flip-flops or something. And I'm like, dude, you're insane. I saw this one guy up north who, like, it had just snowed, and it had to been like 3 or 4 inches on the ground. And he starts walking outside in flip-flops. I'm like, dude, you're going to get frostbite. Your little toes are going to snap off, okay? What are you doing? He's like walking in snow and just snow pouring onto his feet, and he's like just chilling, straight chilling. Shorts, tank top. He doesn't give a fuck. And I'm like, you're insane, dude. But yeah, like 40 degrees up north is not the same as 40 degrees in Florida. If I walked outside in Florida in 40 degree weather in shorts and a sweatshirt, I'd die. I'd be freezing. And it's because of the humidity. It just makes winter feel so much colder than it actually is, That's like, I never got it when I talk to people who, are from up north, and I'm like, dude, it's so cold. And they're like, what's the temperature? And I'm like, oh, it's like 42 or something like that. And they're like, oh, that's nothing. That's no big deal. And I just thought it was like an internal body temperature type thing. It's like what you're used to. So me being from Florida, where it's always warm, cold feels colder because I'm used to the warmth versus someone up north who's used to the cold because winter, which I think probably plays into it a bit. But, I thought it was just that. It wasn't until I went up north and I actually experienced 40 degrees up there, and I'm like, dude, this is nothing. What? Why was I so cold in Florida, dude? This is nothing. And so, yeah, come back from up north on my breaks thinking I'm like, hot shit. I'm like, yeah, guys, I can deal with the cold. Watch this. 40 degrees in Florida, walk outside in shorts and a sweatshirt, and I'm like, nope, can't do this. Went back inside, put on jeans. It's different. It really is different. People who haven't been up north and in Florida during winter will never understand. People who are only from up north are probably like, dude, this Florida guy has no idea what he's talking about. What an idiot. I know what I'm talking about, okay? I lived up north and in Florida, so I got more experience than you. So get off my back. But 12 degrees, there's no getting used to that, okay? I'm sorry. There's no way in hell I'm walking outside in shorts in 12 degrees. But anyways, Yeah, so, we got in the car, 12 degrees, warmed up the car. It took about like we had to warm the car up for a good 10 minutes. And then we had to wait another 10 minutes to warm ourselves up because we were too cold to even move. I'm just sitting in the car and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is good. Mm-hmm. I couldn't move at all. It was way too cold. Couldn't wait to get back to get to the hotel and put on my winter fit, which, disclaimer, was pretty fucking fire. But yeah, we get to the hotel, and we're just chilling there. We flew up on Friday, and like I said, I went to 2 hockey games. So the first game was on Friday night, and yeah, we had dinner, went to the hockey game, and my first time watching a hockey game, and like I say, it was nuts. Hockey never really interests me because it kind of seemed a lot like soccer, in the sense of hardly anyone scores, like you're just watching people go back and forth across the playing field or ice in this case. It's like soccer, what the most points I've seen any team put on the board is 3, and I'm like, dude, I could just miss 75% of the entire game and just watch the end, and I get what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see who wins. Yeah, and plus, I don't see anyone really talk about soccer games. You hear people talk about basketball or football. They're like, oh, basketball. They're like, hey, did you see this person shot 10 3-pointers or something like that? That was crazy, And football, they're like, yo, did you see that one play where they did this, that, and the other? And you're like, yo, I saw that. That was nuts. Soccer, it's just hey, did you see the score? Yeah. Okay, cool. That's it. They don't talk about plays because there really is no plays, I mean, the best you could do is hey, did you see when he moved the ball with his feet? It's yeah, dude, that's the entire game. That's the entire point. That's all they do is move the soccer ball with their feet, okay? But anyways, yeah, so I never really gave much thought to hockey because, hockey was sort of the same way. It's I've only seen a team put up 3, maybe 4 goals. And so I'm just not really that interested. And plus, it seems like every 10 minutes the players were fighting. And I'm like, dude, if I wanted to see boxing, I would have went to see Jake Paul. I mean, not really. He'd be the last boxer I'd go see. But yeah, it's they fight all the time. And I know a lot of dudes are probably dude, that rocks, they're fighting. It's yeah, but I went to see hockey, okay? I went to see them hit a puck with their hockey sticks, That's what I came to see. But I will say I was pleasantly surprised. I actually enjoyed the game. I actually kind of want to get a little more into hockey. It's not my favorite sport, obviously. Football's still my favorite, but I wouldn't mind delving into the world of hockey for a little bit. Tampa Bay Lightning, only because that's the only team I know in the NHL. I believe they're in the NHL. Someone's probably going to crucify me if they're not. They're going to be like, dude, they're not. They're in the whatever. But yeah, went to the hockey game, and it was good. Notre Dame won. It was crazy. Like I said, I've only seen a team put up 3, maybe 4 points in hockey. Notre Dame threw up 7 goals, dude. I was like, this is probably the most points any team has ever put on the board. 7? It's 7-3 or something like that. It was nuts. But yeah, it was cool. It was very fast paced. I was also way more amazed at how these guys were able to move on the ice. You know what I'm saying? I've been ice skating before, and I'm fairly good at ice skating. I'm not one of those people who cling to the wall. Not to make fun of you guys, but I'm just I know how to balance. But yeah, so I'm able to move on the ice. Get a lot of speed. I'm able to stop pretty well and all that stuff. And I'm not trying to say I'm a pro and in any capacity, but I'm just watching these guys and they're full on running, picking their feet up off the ground and running on the ice, and they're stopping at a second's notice in like a space of like an inch or something like that. And I'm like, dude, it takes me like a good like 3 or 4 feet to like slow to a stop, like when I'm ice skating, if I have a good amount of speed. But like these guys are just like, boom, I'm stopped, and I'm like, this is nuts. And it's crazy because they're on hockey skates, because I learned how to ice skate on figure skates, Make fun of me all you want, but honestly, I think they're a lot better in my opinion, only because like I really know how to ice skate in them. But last time I went ice skating, I went in hockey skates because that's the only skates they had, and I was still able to ice skate fairly well. But like figure skates, they have like that extra inch or two at the heel, to keep you balanced. And hockey skates, it's just like the blade is your foot, and it's also like curved. So like there was times where like I feel like I was gonna like fall back, so I had to kind of like lean forward for a lot of the time, which was kind of weird to adjust to. But I got it because I'm just that good, But I'm not a fan of hockey skates, ice skating in them. But so I was like amazed that these guys were able to do what they were doing with hockey skates. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. And it was also like confusing watching the game because like, dude, you could barely see the puck. Like the only saving grace is the fact that the puck is black and the ice is white, so it's like an extreme contrast. But other than that, like the puck is like from where I was sitting, which I was sitting in the lower bowl, I was maybe like the 4th row from the ice, and like the puck was like that big on the ice, and I'm like, there'll be like times where like the players are playing, they're like hitting their sticks all over the place, and I'm like, okay, and then all of a sudden like the puck is over there, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're over here now, and like they're already going at it over there, and I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. I can't even see what's going on, and like I don't know how the refs were able to see anything, and I couldn't hear what the refs were calling because I guess they weren't mic'd or something, so like I can barely hear what they're saying, and they're just like, hey, oh, yeah, and I'm like, what? A penalty on who? What was it? And plus, being someone who's never watched hockey and literally knows nothing about hockey except you hit a puck with sticks into the goal, they're like calling penalties and fouls, and I'm like, I have no idea. I'm so lost. There was some that were pretty obvious, like tripping. Like you can't like intentionally trip someone with your hockey stick. I'm like, okay, I get that. But there was like some where they were like calling shit, and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell happened. What killed me is that like when you get a penalty called on you, you have to go into the penalty box. Like you're kicked off the ice for like 2 minutes, and your team can't replace you. Like they're just down 1 player, and you can do that up to 2 players. I'm learning. Okay. After the second player, like if a third player gets a penalty, they go into the penalty box, but you can replace that person. But you're still down at least 2 players, But it killed me because it just like you go into the penalty box. It's just like this little box. It's like a confessional, and you guys sit there for 2 minutes, and I'm like, this just kills me. You got to sit in timeout, And it was different because, in football, like you get a penalty and it's like, okay, you just, you lose some yards or something, whatever. Like there's only one penalty, at least, or foul in football that I know of that gets you like kicked off the field. And that's like targeting, and that you're like kicked out of the game. But I don't know of any other, like, is there any penalty where you're like kicked off the field for like a certain period of time or the rest of the game or a certain number of plays? I have no idea. I don't think so. Then again, I'm not an expert in football, but I know a lot about football, But yeah, like, yeah, hockey was just like crazy. I couldn't see what was going on, but it was nuts. Got my adrenaline up, and it was also weird because like, when you really think about it, it's about the same like game time. It's about the same length as like a football game. A football game is like 15-minute quarters, right? And like hockey, it's like 3 20-minute periods, And so like it's roughly the same, but like it's probably because like football, it stops the clock every time. Well, almost every time a play ends, depending on where you get down, out of bounds or inbounds or something like that. And hockey just like keeps going for the most part. But just like it felt like the hockey game went by so much faster, And so I don't know, like it was fine. I was just like, I remember the game ended and I was like, that's it? There's not any more? There's no more game? There's not another quarter? There's not another period or something? But no. Which, like I said, was fine. But it was just like, it was a different experience from someone who really only watches football and occasionally watches basketball. But yeah, and there was like I was like learning things that you can do just by watching the game, because like I was kind of confused while I'm watching the game, and like these guys are just like hitting the hockey puck, and the other team just comes in and just like slams them into a wall and then like skates away, and I'm like, is that not a foul? He just assaulted this guy, like that's not a foul, but no, apparently that's a part of the game. It's called like checking or something. And so like, the entire game, they're just like slamming dudes into the wall. And I'm like, dude, honestly, how could you like play hockey and just like be cool with that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to be cool with that. But like, I wouldn't want to play that game. If I was playing hockey and like I knew that I was just going to get slammed into the wall every 5 seconds, I'd be like, fuck this, dude. I'm not playing. I don't appreciate getting slammed into the wall. Now I kind of understand why fights start, because like you throw a guy into a wall one too many times and like, you know what? You're going down, dude. And it's like, that's a part of the game, man. Okay, just chill. It's no beef. Okay, you had the puck and I want to slam into the wall. Okay, checking. But there was one time where I was so confused why a fight started. Like, literally made no sense. Notre Dame was going in for a goal, and they hit the puck, and somehow it flew up into the air and landed on top of the goal, on top of the other team's goal. So like they didn't get the goal, and so like the play just kind of ended, because it's on top of the goal. It's not on the ice, and then just like Notre Dame just kind of like let their guard down because like, okay, play's over. And then Penn State just like grabbed one of the players and just like threw him on the ground. And then like they all start going at it. And I'm like, what happened? What is that? Is the puck landing on top of the goal like offensive or something like that? Why do you guys have so much beef? I was so confused. Because like, and that was the second game. The first game, there wasn't that many fights like when I went to the game. I think there was maybe like 2 mini ones in the first game, and then there was like that one with the net in the second game. But like the one in the first game, like I guess low key made sense because they're like blocking. There's like these two players are kind of like blocking each other, and I guess they pushed each other one too hard or something like that, and they started like beefing and actually like throwing fists and all that shit. So I guess that one low-key makes sense because it's like, okay, you guys are pushing each other around and you guys had enough of it, so you guys start beefing. But this one is just like a puck lands on top of the net and you're like, okay, play's over. And then just like, boom, takedown. And I'm like, what was that for? I was so confused. And then, the Penn State players, I mean, maybe it's because I don't understand hockey, but it seemed like that they were just like being dicks for no reason, Like they tripped a lot of people, on Notre Dame, and maybe I'm just biased because I'm a Notre Dame fan, but it just seemed like the Penn State guys were just like dicks for no reason, and maybe they were pissed off because they were losing. I mean, hell, I'd be pissed too if I was on Penn State and I was losing like 7-3, and being like, dude, no team has ever broken 4 goals. And here's Notre Dame with 7. But I felt bad for the goalie because Penn State was just hounding on that goalie. They're probably like, you're the reason why we lost. You allowed 7 goals. But like, dude, I feel for the goalie, Like the puck is like this big, dude. You can't see that, and like moving at high speeds. And you have to factor in the fact you're like, I have to put my body in front of this hard piece of rubber. It's made of rubber, right? I think. I don't know. I have to put my body in front of this hard piece of rubber going like 50 miles an hour, and hope it doesn't like hit like the crease of my padding and actually hit my body. You know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. And there was like one time where like the Notre Dame guy like hit the puck, and I thought it was on the ice, and the goalie thought it was on the ice too. So he like, he puts his leg pads down the ground to sort of block it, and it actually was like in the air and went right past his head into the goal. And I'm like, dude, honestly, I feel for you. I didn't even know it was in the air either. I thought it was on the ground. But yeah, the first game was crazy, and I was hyped to see the second game. Went back and saw the second game, and I was kind of hyped about the fight. Like even though I was kind of confused on why they started fighting, I was like, hell yeah, beat the other guy. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the game, dude. It's hockey, baby. But yeah, it was fun. I got a hockey jersey and everything. If you follow me on Instagram and if you follow me on Twitter, I posted on Twitter first, like the day of. I posted a picture of myself in the hockey jersey. So represent. So make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RealJLines and at Lion on Main. Shameless plug right there. But yeah, I was live tweeting throughout the hockey game, sort of like my thoughts, that were going through my head. I'm more active on Twitter, so if you're holding off, time to get on. Your boy's a little active, and put on post notifications because I got like this weird habit of like deleting tweets right after I post them, and like sometimes they're kind of like golden tweets, so. Make sure you put on those post notifications so you get notified when I post something to make sure you actually see the tweet before it gets deleted. Because, like, I posted a ton of tweets about the hockey game, but there was still a ton that I tweeted and I just deleted because I'm like, you know what? I'm tweeting too much. Let's take that off, But, yeah, anyways, so after the second game, Notre Dame won again. It was like 3-0 or something like that. Penn State was playing a little harder that night. They're like, you know what? We ain't letting you put 7 on the board. I was kind of hoping that they put 7 on the board, but 3-0 was kind of the scoring that I was just fully expecting for both games. I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna be like 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, 2-4, or something like that. Like that was just sort of like how I thought the scoring was going to go. So I was like amazed when they made it to 5. I was like, now this is crazy, So yeah, the second game, Penn State was playing a little harder, a little more aggressive, a little more dickish, and they still lost. So, fuck you guys. But yeah, it was a 2-game series. It was cool. There was they had a guest organist there, which I guess they have organists at hockey games too. I didn't know that. I thought that was only at baseball. But they had the organist from the New York Yankees, and he also plays for the New York Islanders, the Islanders is a hockey team. So I guess I know 2 hockey teams now. But yeah, he came over, played the organ. That was cool. I enjoyed listening to him playing. But it was kind of funny. I was like, dude, I didn't know there was fucking organs at hockey games, Like when I think hockey games, I don't think organists. I think boxing, fighting, When you think of baseball, you think of like organist because that's just sort of like, that's just like the cliche, an organist at a baseball game. But yeah, the first game that we went to, there was like this group of guys behind us. I don't know if they were dads or if they were just fans of Notre Dame hockey just in general. But like, it was those typical guys that feel like they know more about the game than like the coaches or the players, So like they're like saying shit. They're like, oh, they should be doing this, they should be doing that, and all that stuff. And I was so dead because, like I said, I was going into hockey fully expecting it to be like max points 2-3 Notre Dame wins, right? And so when the first period started, I was really not expecting a goal at all. I was expecting the goals to start racking up in like towards the end when they start getting a little more anxious and aggressive, And so like 10 minutes into the first period, and the periods are only like 20 minutes, okay? 10 minutes into the game, the guys behind us are freaking out that Notre Dame hasn't scored yet, okay? Penn State hasn't scored either. No one has scored, okay? And Notre Dame has gotten close, but they hadn't been able to get it into the goal. And Penn State was sometimes close, but not a whole lot. Notre Dame was able to hold them back. And these guys behind us are freaking out. They're like, you just got to pull the trigger. Pull the trigger was like their favorite phrase. They were saying that like every 20 seconds. They're like, you know what? You got to pull the trigger, man. So at some point, you got to pull the trigger. You got to score that goal. And I want to turn around and be like, dude, I've never seen hockey. And then like, even I know you shouldn't be expecting a goal 10 minutes into the game. They ended up getting a goal like closely after they were freaking out after 10 minutes. Like maybe it was like 5 minutes left in the first period. Notre Dame finally scored a goal. And, I was hyped, obviously, Notre Dame scoring a goal. But I was just so dead. And like when Notre Dame scored their first goal, I think they scored a second one in the first period as well. I can't really remember when exactly all the goals were scored, but they scored a second goal, so it was like 2-0, and the guys behind us were like, "Wow, these guys are great. I always knew they had it in them," and like complete change of tone, And I'm just like, you know what, guys, you guys really need to chill out, But yeah, and then like when they came into the second period, once again, I was not expecting them to start racking up a ton of points. I was also kind of expecting it to be a little more difficult for Notre Dame to score a goal because Penn State would be like, okay, it's the second period. We got to start, boosting our game a little bit. And so like they start the second period and like 5 minutes in, the guys are already freaking out that Notre Dame hasn't scored. They're like, this is ridiculous. What are they doing? They just need to score the goal. Stop passing it. A beautiful pass isn't worth anything if you can't score the goal off of it or something. And I'm like, guys, like I was dying laughing, but I was also kind of like, I'm like, guys, you guys really need to chill. Okay, first of all, we're winning. Okay, it's not like Penn State's gonna rack up like 20 points in 30 seconds. Okay, just like chill. And plus, like it was Notre Dame is like ranked. I don't know what they're ranked, but they're ranked, and Penn State is unranked. So it's like, that Notre Dame is most likely going to win. The odds are like, 2-1 or something. I don't really know how odds work, but that sounds good. 2-1, right? 3-1, make it even better. 5-1. My point is, I was pretty confident that Notre Dame was going to win. And these guys are like, I can't believe it. What are they doing? Like, they're getting mad at the players. They're not really yelling at the coach. They're getting mad at the players. And I'm like, dude, these guys are college kids, okay? They're just playing the game for fun. You can, I wouldn't even freak out about this in the NHL, but I mean, like, dude, you can have all this talk and beef and anger in the NHL, like when it's their job to play good. These guys are just playing hockey in college for fun. And maybe some of them are trying to get to the NHL. So it's like, just chill, okay? But yeah, they were freaking out the entire game. Like, even when they had 7 points, like, they were still, like, low-key pissed that they weren't scoring something, Like, 2 minutes after their last goal, they're already like, I can't believe this. Why haven't they scored yet? And I'm like, why don't you guys go out there and score some goals, okay? See how easy it is. Like I said, I was surprised that they even got 7. Because like I feel like it's pretty difficult to score a goal in hockey, because you got all the other players trying to block you from scoring. And not to mention, the goal is pretty small, and you got this big ass goalie there, with like pads that make them like 2 times bigger than they actually are, and so like you really only have maybe a square foot of area to put the puck in to actually score a goal, and so like I'm like, it's a skill you guys even got 1 goal, like, and plus it was 7-3. Okay, we're coming up to the end of the game, and these guys are freaking out that Notre Dame hasn't scored, and I'm like, dude, there's no way Penn State's gonna get 4 goals in 2 minutes left of the game. I mean, if it took them this long to get 3, they're not gonna get 4 more. Okay, so just relax, enjoy the game, enjoy the win. And I was kind of hoping that get some guys like that for the second game, because like it was amusing, I have to say. Like, I was dying laughing at all their commentary, and I was just like, because I'm like, these guys are nuts, But we didn't have anybody like that in the second game, kind of unfortunate, but it was still an enjoyable game. I'd say it was a little more enjoyable than the first one because it was a little more tense. You know, it was a little bit harder for Notre Dame to score a goal. And you know, like I said, we did end with like 3-0, but yeah, it was a little more, got a little more anxious. I was like, ooh, you know, we might lose this. I wonder if there's ever been, there probably has, but I wonder if there's ever been a hockey game where like no one was able to score. You know, so it's just like 0-0. I mean, how does overtime work for hockey? I have no idea. Anyways, so after the hockey game, after the second game, we decided to celebrate the wins at this bar that was in the area, and you know, we go there, a bunch of people from the hockey band, and you know, I've been told by my sister for all her years going to this school how like amazing this bar is, you know, and how like everyone goes there, you know, shit's crazy. Tell me about how like they got like this pole in the bar that you're supposed to lick. It's like a tradition and all that stuff. And you know, so I was fairly hyped to go to this place. I'm like, dude, I'm ready to see what this place is all about, you know, fully expecting good music. You know, I pull up and it was nice. It was like it was a bar, you know. But like they're playing a bunch of white music, you know? Like, you know, they're playing like Sweet Home Alabama and shit. And I'm like, can we put some like good music on? You know? And my sister's like, well, you know, they have a request sheet, so you can go up there and request some music. And, you know, I didn't know how the requesting worked. Like I had like 10 songs on my mind that I just wanted to put down. But I'm like, I don't know if like I write down 10 or something like that, and the DJ's like, okay, you're only allowed one every 5 minutes or something like that, and they cross out the other 9 and just play the first one. You know what I'm saying? So I went up there, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how everyone vibes to my type of music, so I'm going to request a song that I know 90% of people know and 90% of people are going to dance to, right? So I request The Wobble, you know me, and I wait a while, and finally The Wobble comes on, and I'm like, okay, finally we got some good music. And so I'm expecting people to like freak out and go like, oh shit, and start getting in position to start doing the dance. No one's moving. Everyone's just standing and talking, you know, which is what was happening with all the other songs, you know. And I'm like, oh my God, do I have to do everything myself? So I go up to the front of the dance floor, if you could call it. It was just like an open area. It wasn't really a dance floor, but it was an open area where people were standing and moving, you know, white people style, like, you know. So I get up to the front. I'm like, okay, are you guys ready to do The Wobble? And some people were like, what? I'm like, okay, just watch me. So I start doing the dance, you know, and people start looking over and they're like, oh, okay. And they start watching, they start doing it with me. Sooner or later, I got like the entire bar doing this dance, you know, and I'm like, yes, this is how a bar's supposed to work, you know. You play a song that you dance to, okay? Like they're playing some like Ed Sheeran shit, and I'm like, what the hell? What? You know, Ed Sheeran has good music, but that's not a song that you like party dance to at a bar. Are you crazy? The Wobble is a party bar dance song, you know. But anyway, so like, you know, people are finally getting hyped. We're like doing the dance and shit. And so I was expecting like after the song, like the DJ would be like, okay, it's that type of party. Let's play that type of music. Then they just went back to like Harry Styles. And I'm like, and everyone just went back to just standing around, you know? And I'm like, come on, guys, we were just here. You know, we were here in terms of party, bar, dance music. And now you guys are right back down to here, you know, like, and so I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to go up and I'm going to request another song. Right? So I was thinking, because I'm also kind of looking at the bar, trying to gauge, you know, the type of music people would actually recognize. Because, you know, like, yeah, I can put on dance music that people won't recognize, and sure, maybe some of them dance, but I'm trying to pick some songs that people would know of and would want to dance to because they know the song, you know, to try to get them hyped to the point where they just start dancing to any music, any party music that comes on. So I request 679 because, you know, who doesn't know that song, right? Request a song. I'm waiting. DJ never plays the song. And I'm like, what the hell? So I go up and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna request 3 songs. My sister requested one of them. She's like, hey, can you go up and write that song? Because like you're going up there anyway. So I'm like, yeah, sure. So I request a song, I request her song, and then I also requested No Hands because I'm like, I don't know how many people know of that song, but it's a good dance song. It's a good party song. So I'm like, okay, this will probably get people hyped, you know? And I'm waiting. Doesn't play any 3 of those songs. And so I walk up and the DJ scratched out my suggestions. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to help you out, you know? Because, like, if you just keep playing this shitty music like Ed Sheeran and, like, Harry Styles, even though, like, yeah, they have good music, but, like, we're talking party music, okay? If you keep playing this shit music for a bar, people are going to be like, okay, don't go to this bar because the DJ sucks, you know? So I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to request good songs that people are like, yo, that DJ put up some fire music, you know? I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to save your job, you know? And here you are just, like, ignoring me. Right? But I'm like, dude, I'm adamant about No Hands. So I wrote it down again. And like right after I wrote it, I walked back and I noticed that the DJ grabbed the notepad, reads it, and I guess she was pissed that I requested No Hands again because she like slammed that pad down and I'm like, okay, she does not like that suggestion at all. But she ended up playing it, which I was hyped for. And I was dancing a little bit, got some other people moving. I'm like, okay, here we go. Sweet Home Alabama next. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me, dude. You're falling down on the job, DJ. Okay. I look back and she's like playing like Clash of Clans or something like that. And I'm like, dude, come on. I'm trying to help you. Come on, listen to me, you know? I went up there, I requested another song, didn't play it. And towards the end of my time at the bar, they just started playing a bunch of country music. And so I'm like, okay, obviously this DJ is a country fan, okay? Because like they're playing like Sweet Home Alabama, Come On Eileen, Dixieland Delight, Rock the Boat and shit. And I'm like, okay, obviously this person is into like country, white people, Midwestern shit. So like, let me at least put a hype song in that category. So I request Honky Tonk, Badonkadonk. And she played that, no problem. It was like the next song. And I'm like, you see? That's what I mean. Here I am requesting good music. You ignore it. And then I just request some country music that you like. And you're like, yeah, let's play that. Fuck you. I mean, I like that song that I requested, but it's just like, I really wish you played my other music because it was good, And then, of course, I had to lick the pole, Now you're probably like, oh, that's so gross. But, like, I had to. It's a tradition. So, like, I had to fall through, I had to follow through on that. So I made a big deal out of it, gathered a bunch of people around. I made a toast and everything. And, yeah, it was good. They had a basketball game on. They had UCLA versus Arizona State playing basketball. And so when they're playing like the country ass music, that I didn't really care for, I was just standing, I was watching the game because I had nothing better to do. But also, I'm a fan of UCLA. So I was really looking forward to them winning, but they lost in like the third overtime or something like that. Like it was upsetting considering UCLA in basketball is ranked 3 and Arizona State is like not ranked at all, And I'm watching the game and like UCLA was trailing for a lot of the game, and then they finally like tied it up towards the end, and they were just tied all the way until finally Arizona State scored. UCLA wasn't able to score, and they lost the game. And I'm just like, you guys, come on. You guys are 3. Arizona State is unranked. I was really bummed. I'm like, okay, playing this country ass music. UCLA lost. How can this night get any worse? But no, I'm just kidding. It was good. I had a great time. The bar was fun. I had a great time with the people from the hockey band. I hope they appreciate what I did for them. Playing that good ass music for them. Getting them hyped, teaching them the wobble. Because now they get to go on to like their dorm parties and be like, hey guys, I got a great song and a great dance for you, and plays the wobble. And people are like, oh, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, or this girl knows what she's talking about, you know? And I'm like, you're welcome. You don't even have to give me credit, okay? Take full credit. Be like, yeah, I found this. I came up with the dance, whatever. I don't really give a shit. I just want to make sure that you have a good time. But yeah, so after the hockey game, went back to the hotel, went to bed, and we left the next day, Sunday, in the we left like Sunday night. Like we didn't get back to Florida until like midnight. And I was kind of ready to leave 19-degree weather and come back to Florida to nice 80 degrees, but when we landed it was like 50, and I'm like, this is not okay. And like we get in the car and I'm driving, okay, and I'm cold. And so I turn on the heat. Like I didn't blast the heat in the car ride back home. I just like put it on a little bit because I just wanted to get slightly warm. And my father just like blasts the cold air conditioning. And I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, are you warm? And he's like, no, I just don't want to get warm. And I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I put on the heat because I was cold, but sure, as long as you're comfortable. But yeah, Sunday, had some breakfast at the I believe it's called the American Pancake House, So if you're ever in South Bend, make sure you go to that place. That place is amazing, okay, for breakfast. They have like this Luck of the Irish skillet, which is like corned beef hash and like fried eggs, and they got some other stuff in the hash in the skillet. It's like my favorite thing to get there. It was so good. Like you get the egg sunny side up, and so like you cut it, you let the yolk like seep into the hash. Oh, chef's kiss, man. So fucking good. I get it like every time I go. And so yeah, it was nice. Had a relaxing last day because like I said, we were leaving like late at night. Like I think our flight we left out of Indianapolis. Our flight left at like 6:30 or something like that. So we had like most of the morning to just like relax and chill and all that stuff. So yeah, we kind of just like walked around. We went to the bookstore, did some light shopping, all that stuff, and then we drove back. And the last day, because it hadn't snowed in a while, and like the sun finally came out on Saturday and Sunday, so like the snow on the road was kind of melted, but there was still a shit ton of snow everywhere. There's still people driving around with like 6 inches of snow sitting on top of their car, and I'm like, you really should brush that off. But and dude, the icicles are crazy up there. Like you kind of think of icicles, you think like maybe there's like one little icicle that's maybe like 4 inches. Like I'm pulling up in this apartment complex, and there's like, it's like a 2-story apartment complex, and there's like huge ass icicles hanging from like the ceiling all the way down to the ground. Like these huge spikes. I'm like, dude, if that shit fell on you, you are obliterated. You're so dead, dude. And there's like shit ton of icicles everywhere, and huge icicles. It was nuts. Like even, because like I said, this is like a 2-story apartment complex, and so like some of the apartments on the second floor, they had like a balcony, right? And under it there was like an outdoor patio of like the equivalent apartment on the first floor, and there's like icicles hanging from underneath the balcony, from like the snow melting and seeping in the cracks of the wood of the balcony, and they're just like icicles hanging from the balcony. I'm like, okay, yes. So if you're on the first floor, you are not sitting outside on that little patio, because if that icicle falls, you are dead. But yeah, that was my trip. That was my trip up to South Bend. Saw some hockey. Like I said, it was really cool. It was really fun. Kind of want to get a little bit more into hockey. Kind of want to get a little bit more into basketball, because I've only dabbled lightly into basketball, but kind of interested in watching it. But considering UCLA fucking sucks, at least that one game, I mean, I don't know if it's even worth it to watch. I mean, come on, UCLA was 3 against unranked. I don't know how many teams are ranked in NBA, but like, I mean, come on, dude, you're in the top 5, you're in the top 3, and you lost to an unranked. And And like I said, they were like leading for most of the game. So like that's even worse. It's like they shouldn't have been leading at all in the first place, you know? Anyways, yeah, I kind of want to get a little bit more into hockey. Kind of want to go to some more hockey games. Maybe go to a Tampa Bay Lightning game. I don't even know where Tampa Bay Lightning plays. I mean, it has to be Tampa, right? Tampa Bay Lightning, they have to play in Tampa. I just don't know where like the ice rink is for Tampa Bay Lightning, but I'll be willing to look it up because I kind of want to go to some more hockey games. Kind of want to go to some basketball games too. You know, maybe not the Orlando Magic because they're not that good, but maybe I'll stick to just watching basketball games. You know, until the Magic gets good, which is probably never, but one can dream. Anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Lion on Main. Made it to an hour, roughly. I'm actually kind of quite proud of myself, you know? Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are still enjoying this podcast. Hope you guys are hyped for a year. Just around the corner. 2 more episodes, baby. Once again, make sure to follow me on social media at RealJLions and at Lion on Main on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Like I said, I'm active on Twitter. Better follow that shit. Yeah, follow me on social media. Oh, yeah. Whenever you guys are listening to this on, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and leave a review. All that shit really helps me out a lot. If you'd rather not write a review, then just give me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, because that still helps me out too. And make sure to share this with everyone, your friends, your family, your enemies, your next door neighbor, your babysitter, your dog, your grandma, your priest. Just kidding. The men in cloth probably would not appreciate this podcast. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Love you. I don't know. Do I?